Hi there, are you somebody who's in physical pain and you think there's a possibility that the relationships you're in perhaps could be contributing or even causing the pain that you're experiencing? Well, if so, friend, then this video is for you. Hi there, my name is Morgan Risden and I'm the creator of Center Studio, where I teach people skills to feel more comfortable more often. Now, before we get started, friend, if you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button, also that notification bell. That way, anytime I make a video like this, you'll be the first to know, and it also helps me grow my channel. Now, today's video, I wanted to highlight how our relationships can sometimes be contributing to the physical pain that we're so desperately trying to get out of. Now, it could either be that it's the cause of a pain, or it's just contributing to a pain that's already existing, but it's making it a lot worse. And when I talk about a relationship today, what I'm talking about is anybody that you interact with on a regular basis. So that could be in the form of a partner, right? Say a spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend. It could be a roommate or a friend that you have, family member. It could even be a colleague or a boss, right? Somebody in the workspace that you're interacting with. How are our relationships in our everyday life impacting how our physical body feels? Okay, so if you're somebody who has neck pain, shoulder tension, back problems, TMJ, migraines, you get the picture, okay? I'm gonna suggest let's question some of the relationships that you have in your life and see, is there any correlation between how you physically feel and what's going on in that relationship? And when you're questioning that, these are the things I want you to ask yourself. Do I feel more stress, more anxiety when I'm dealing with that person, right? Do I feel that my anxiety levels increase or my stress increases? And how would you be able to tell that? Well, friend, it looks like an increase in heart rate, maybe some sweating, change in breathing. Maybe you start to breathe a little bit quicker or even more shallow sometimes can be the case. Maybe you get indigestion, you start to feel your stomach doing something crazy, or maybe your neck tension gets a little bit harder to deal with, and it's a little bit more in your awareness because you're like, ooh, this is really uncomfortable, okay? It can show up in a variety of different ways. But whatever pain you're currently dealing with, I want you just to focus on that and ask yourself, is there anybody that I've talked to and it seems to get worse? Or is it that this pain that I have is sort of even more amplified when I'm with somebody like this? Does it happen as a result, or is it something that maybe is highlighted because of who I'm with? Now, when you do that, you're also going to ask yourself, what can I do about it afterwards, right? Are you telling me to quit my job because my boss is giving me, a hard time? No, I'm not saying quit your job. I'm saying now that we know and we have an awareness to it, that's when we can interfere, right? Once you know what's happening, that's when you can put in place change. Okay, so why does this happen? Why is our body physically reacting to essentially what we would consider to be a mental, emotional situation? Like, oh, I'm more anxious when I talk to my mom or when I interact with my partner. Because, friend, when you get anxious, when you get stressed, your body has the fight or flight mode. It enters it immediately. Your body just shoots into that, get me out of danger. Now, what happens is your muscles will tighten. They're gonna tighten, and that's what facilitates getting your physical body out of that dangerous place. But you and I both know that just because your boss has flung a new deadline on you doesn't mean you're actually in physical danger, right? However, your body, my friend, doesn't know the difference. Okay? So if you're feeling anxious or more stressed in a certain situation, your body is reacting to that. And what happens over a period of time is, let's say you're always having these meetings that are not productive and you're always feeling more anxious and more stressed. Your muscles have already been chronically tightening, and that's causing the tension, okay? Because when you're in a constant state of fight or flight, your muscles are in a constant state of tension and tightness, okay? So the more that you raise that awareness of yours to what relationships do I have in my life that are working or that are interfering with how I feel, the better you are to change them, right? So how are you gonna do that? There's a number of ways. Let me just highlight a few, okay? First, I love therapy. I think therapy is a great way to start working on oneself. So what I mean by that is either individual therapy, where you just talk with someone to bring up emotions and bring to your level of consciousness things that maybe you don't realize are upsetting to you. And if you're in a partnership, that could even be couples therapy, right? You could invite a partner in life who you feel like there's a lot of friction or it's not functioning at its best, and you can try to get more on the same page. The other thing is you could put in place boundaries. You could start to set up boundaries in your life so that people know, what can I ask of you? What is appropriate and what's not appropriate? Maybe it's to the colleague and the boss who email you after work hours and expect a response. And you set up just an autoresponder to say, hey, after 5 o'clock, I'm out. I'll answer any emails I get the following morning. Thank you for your email. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Just by putting in place these sort of boundaries, you give yourself space to know, I don't have to worry about that email because an autoresponder told them, I'll get to it. And not only that, but it told them when I'll get to it, right? So that reduces your level of anxiety because you don't have to deal with that interaction. It could also be asking for what you need, okay? So let's say you're in a partnership. Somebody asks you to go on a vacation. You say, look, this would be great, babe, but if we're gonna go on the vacation at this time, that's when my work gets really busy. But you know what? If you can help me, I'm gonna ask for some things that I would need to make this vacation something more enjoyable for me so that my stress level, my anxiety is a little bit more manageable. And these, my friends, are ways that you can immediately implement making changes in your relationships that you're gonna see a direct impact on how you feel. The more that you can raise your awareness to what relationships do I have in my life and how are they either contributing to my well-being or how are they interfering with it? Is it causing me undue anxiety, unnecessary stress? And is there a way that I can change that, right? Relationships are two people. Now, I've been married 12 years. I've been with my husband 18 years, but I've tried to change him and it doesn't work, friends. If it did, I would tell you, but it doesn't. The only way that I've found to be effective in changing other people is when you really start to work on yourself and change you. So if you want somebody to change, you have to put in place and in practice different things to show up differently for everybody. And when you start showing up differently, then they have to respond differently, right? And what you'll find is that you actually have more control over how you feel and how you experience your physical state, your physical well-being, right? Because if you're in a constant state of fight or flight, if you're in a constant state of stress and anxiety, your body is also receiving that. So it's not just a mental, emotional experience, but your physical body, right, can also be receiving, and it can also be at the expense of all of these relationships that you have in your life. All right, so just something for you to consider. Think about the relationships you have. See if there's any sort of correlation between the relationships and the pain, and is it greater at some points and less at others? And the more you can identify that, the better you're gonna be at solving and figuring out the problems that are getting in the way with you feeling better. All right, so if you haven't already, friend, of course, I would love if you would subscribe, like, and share. That helps me out a lot. Until next time, take care. Ciao.